If you are new to GlobeTrotting, feel free to subscribe as I try and push the channel to 60,000. Airbus has on several occasions redeveloped an existing aircraft with new engines, giving the program a new lease on life. But what about with an A340 Neo? The A340 in reality never quite lived up to expectations laid out by Airbus, with the program ultimately coming to a close. But would a re-engine through the A340 Neo have been the answer? Therefore, what is this product? What can we learn from next generation technologies? Why did the A340 fail ultimately, and has a prospective re-engine ever really made sense? Similar to many other current engine option aircrafts, there has been room to evolve these popular jets into next generation planes. Leveraging the development of engine technologies has enabled Airbus to offer substantial upgrades across its commercial airplanes division with time. If it had proceeded with this, it would have resulted in an A340 Neo. In essence, this model would have sought to build upon the A340 and quite literally address some of the key complaints with the first iteration, making it hopefully in process a more attractive option for airline customers. Visible through the A350, if Airbus had wanted to take the development of the A340 Neo that little step further and commit to investing more, it could have leveraged further advancements, such as composite fuselage materials and other improvements to the cabin interior to enhance your passenger comfort levels. While the A340 Neo would have obviously retained its 4-engine model, these engines would have been significantly more efficient and quieter, similar to those in the A330 Neo and A320 Neo families, which have leveraged new technology to bring improvements. But what happened to the A340? Well, unfortunately for its fate within the industry was not one that Airbus may have wanted to experience when it decided to proceed with the program's launch, a timeframe when all aircraft manufacturers are probably at their highest in terms of optimism about what the future holds. The quad-engine widebody really did fall victim to the decline of a reliance of this type of plane as the broader industry began shifting towards more fuel-efficient and versatile aircraft that also had half the number of engines. While this remains one of the blander reasons why the A340 struggled, it's one of the most critical to explore. It is also one of the most vital aspects for the A340, which was designed, remember, as well as a single-deck plane. It wasn't, say, your A380. The A340's selling point, however, lay in ETOPS, which was still, remember, in its infancy at the time of the 340's introduction. As a result, for customers who required long-haul flying, the A340 presented an opportunity to capture demand on their networks. Only shortly after the manufacturer had offered the A340 did other aircraft begin to emerge. Not only was it deemed that these aircraft had far better ETOPS capabilities, but also came with significant cost benefits for those that chose to adopt it over the A340 and were typically considered also a less risky option. Many would look towards the 777's development in the 1990s as the beginning of a new era for long-haul travel, which was further enhanced and highlighted by Boeing's own 787 and the eventual development of the A350. As airlines also put greater emphasis on being environmentally friendly, planes like the A340 became increasingly more unfavourable as the mid-2010s approached, and analysts probably would argue to you and myself that this even happened before then, and certainly statistics would back this up. Slowly but surely, where the A340 had, you'd say, excelled to a certain extent, more favourable alternatives were becoming available, meaning the A340 wasn't required and Airbus would pull the plug on the program. The A340's presence across many airlines' fleets would also decrease, as these same carriers saw opportunities elsewhere to enhance their operations and increase profitability. So, despite Airbus greenlighting several new engine initiatives to existing programs, these were for planes that, when their successes were approved, still had a firm place within our industry, still had market share, and had airlines calling out for a successor. In the case of the A320ceo family, this was the plane maker's only and most successful single-aisle program. It was competing firmly with the 737, and they sought to get ahead of Boeing. For that, they needed a successor, and they pushed an A320neo. The American rival would then come back with the 737 MAX in response. Meanwhile, your A330NEO was approved at a point where Boeing was emerging with its 787 and enjoying quite a lot of substantial orders. Airbus believed that launching a replacement for its A330ceo, albeit maybe a little bit early, would in the end mitigate some of the sales and provide a pretty straightforward solution to airlines' requirements who were looking for fleet renewal and/or replacement efforts. Airbus knew it could keep the costs low here, and there would still be a market for it. It wouldn't necessarily hinder either its production lines and would serve a purpose. Both of these decisions have worked for the plane maker. However, a prospective A340 Neo would have not had the same fate, simply because the type it was replacing was not favoured and struggled. The market for the A340 was never present, and this played a role in the demise of the quad-engine jet. Regardless of the upgrades that we could have seen through an A340 Neo, they would not have made sense and wouldn't have changed the program's fate. If anything, it would be a burden to Airbus to have promoted this type of plane when its priorities would have laid elsewhere. It is for the same reason why it hasn't proceeded with an A380 Neo. Yes, your Emirates is coming forward and expressing interest in the type, but Airbus knows better and feels there are bigger priorities for their future to ensure long-term, sustained success, and an A340 Neo, I'll reiterate, wasn't a direction worth heading. Keen to hear your take down below in the comments. Thanks a lot for your support here on the channel. Take care, do be safe, and I'll see you in a couple of days for your latest industry analysis right back here on GlobeTrotting.